Quantum of Solace, starring Daniel Craig. A lot of people that I spoke to that have seen this movie and have read reviews and magazine articles have said that this movie is lacking a particular function that Bond usually has. Now, I agree on one hand, but I disagree on the other hand. I agree, number one, because this is the second movie that takes place 1 hour after Casino Royale ends. It's a continuation. And what is missing is the gadgets. Well, there's a various many other things that are missing, but the one thing is the gadgets. Audiences out there have to understand that this is a continuation of the 1953 book Casino Royale. And they had to modernize Casino Royale in order to bring it up to date so that when people saw James Bond, they didn't step back in time and say, well, wait a minute, the settings aren't, they're old. I don't get it. Where's the gadgets? There was no gadgets. There was no Q branch. This is James Bond in his second movie, Quantum of Solace, earning his 007 status. That's what's missing. But I have to tell you something. Mark Foster, who directed this, also directed in the past Kite Runner. Some of you might know Kite Runner was a very famous a New York best-selling book about the problems that was going on in Afghanistan. Now, this director took a whole different approach because when he was approached by the producers, Broccoli, and the people at Sony Pictures and Pinewood Studios said that he actually wanted to reject the script because he liked James Bond and the character that he portrays, and he didn't want to ruin anything, but he says, you know what, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and I want to direct this film. So he took a shot of it. He took a shot at it and directed it. Now, there was a couple flaws. Given it was very action-pace oriented, it didn't lose my attention one bit. It started off action and it ended action and drama. That was a big problem because the way Foster, I believe, approached the script was that he added more drama to it, and the story wasn't that complete because, as a few of you out there might know, there is going to be maybe one more sequel. There might be two, but I know that Daniel Craig is signed on for one more movie. So they don't exactly explain how this one's going to end. But like I said, the movie was very action-paced. Kind of disappointing because I was hoping that the action went somewhere and not here rather than there. But you have to understand, this is the start of James Bond. He just earned his 007 license to kill. So it's not going to be, James Bond with the gadgets and the women. And this is just the start of him. And he's going to get up to that. And they should have made the series in order back in '62. Instead of doing Dr. No, they should have done Casino Royale first, but they want to do Dr. No first, and you just have to respect that because the movie did come out in '62, and it did very well in the box office. Sean Connery got highly acclaimed for it, and bravo to him. But with this, the cinematography, I was very impressed with it. There was a lot of close-ups, a lot of tracking shots. Very, very difficult, I would have to say, because Daniel Craig went through a lot of injuries to do most of his own stunts, especially with the explosions and the glass flying everywhere. Well, obviously, it's rubber glass being blown from an air cannon. But still, it takes a lot of work to do a James Bond film, and this might have taken about a year or so to film, maybe a couple months, but a year or two to write. So, that was okay. The screenwriting I can definitely tell was great, but the way the director approached it, again, I'm blaming Forrester because I respect him for Kite Runner, don't get me wrong. He has a touch of sentimentality when it comes to a story of that kind of nature. But when it comes to an action film like this, I can't help keep thinking to myself that he should have passed the script and that Martin Campbell, who directed GoldenEye as well as the prior one, Casino Royale, should have stepped up and said, no, I want to direct this film, and this is my vision and the way I want it. But it didn't happen, and I feel that over the weekend, audiences are going to be disappointed. But like I said, this is how James Bond first started. So you're going to go into a theater with this whole idea, and it's not going to be fulfilled. And what are you going to do? It's not always the same as it was going to be in the past. So, like I said, screenwriting was great. Cinematography, very professional. Daniel Craig, great acting. Got hurt in a couple scenes, and I could see where he got hurt. Um, very nice locations. Most of it was shot on location. Then the other action sequences with the blowing up and the glass shattering, that was all done in Pinewood Studios. So that was all right. All in all, I am a huge James Bond fan, and I've been a fan of the series for many years. I was a little disappointed with this one because I had high hopes since Casino Royale was great. Then again, different director's vision, Guy Campbell and then Foster. But all in all, this film, I give it 3 stars.